Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. Today we will discuss the module Soil Microorganisms and their functions. Microorganisms. They are small microscopic organisms which are present all around us in water, in air and in soil. Soil is the most favorable medium for the microorganism as it is rich in the organic matter. The vast variety of the microorganisms present in the soil include bacteria, fungi, viruses, protozoa and actinomycetes. In the soil, these microorganisms, they play a very diverse role. They are acting as the decomposers in the soil for the sustainability of the soil ecosystem. They are degrading, or we can say decomposing, the living or the dead organic matter which is present in the soil and make it available to the plant. In the soil, they are also acting as nitrogen fixers because they are fixing the atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia, nitrites and nitrates, and these forms are readily available to the plant. These bacteria in the soil also act as the phosphorus solubilizers, and they are solubilizing the complex form of the phosphates with the calcium, aluminium and iron into the available form which can be readily utilized by the plant. Because of the activity of the bacteria as a nitrogen fixer and as phosphorus solubilizer, they are also commercialized as biofertilizers. These bacteria not only acting as the biofertilizers, they are also producing certain phytohormones as well as certain another molecules which will regulate the growth of the plants. That's why they are also having the plant growth promoting role when they are present in the rhizosphere area of the plant. In addition to this, the bacteria, they are also acting as the disease suppressors, and this activity of the bacteria is commercialized as their potential in biocontrol agents. So, in this module, today we will discuss the various kinds of bacteria which are present in the soil and their role in maintaining the soil ecosystem. Soil is the natural and dynamic medium for the growth of land plants, and it is an important factor which influences the productivity of our planet's ecosystem. A mass of mineral particles alone do not constitute soil, but it contains also air, water, dead organic matter and various types of living organisms. The formation of a soil is influenced by the kind of organisms present in the soil, the climate, topography and the parent material of that area as well as the time period. True soils are influenced, modified and supplemented by living organisms, and soil contain different type of microorganisms including bacteria, actinomycetes, fungi, algae and viruses. The plants and animals, they aid in the development of the soil through the addition of organic matter. Microorganisms, mainly fungi and bacteria, they decompose this organic matter into semi-soluble chemical substance which is known as humus. Larger soil microorganisms like earthworms, beetles and termites, they also vertically distribute this humus within the mineral matter which is found beneath the surface of the soil. The soil environment differs from one location to another and also from season to season. Therefore, factors such as moisture, pH, temperature, organic and inorganic content as well as the oxygen content affects the microbial flora of the soil samples. Every gram of a typical healthy soil is the home for several hundred to several thousand different species of bacteria. In addition, soil is also a home to microscopic fungi, algae, cyanobacteria, actinomycetes, protozoa, nematodes and macroscopic earthworms and insects. All these organisms can be divided between autotrophs, which are the self-feeders such as plants, algae and cyanobacteria, and the second category is heterotrophs, which are different feeders like fungi and bacteria which decompose the organic matter. The studies of soil microbial diversity has revealed that only less than 10% of the soil microbial community could be readily cultured. So, 90% of the non-culturable microorganisms could be identified in their naturally occurring microbial population without culturing them in the lab conditions. For this, the techniques they are used, they include extraction and isolation of ribosomal RNA genes directly from the microbial cells which are present in the soil. After the isolation of ribosomal RNA genes, they are amplified from the total community DNA using the PCR with rRNA specific primers of that community. These primers can select different microbial groups at the level of a domain, and different approaches can be taken to separate and sequence the rRNA genes, and this will finally contribute for the microbial diversity analysis. By comparing the sequences of the rRNA genes from the cultivated species and the sequences which are already present in the databases such as NCBI's gene bank, the phylogenetic relationship between the unknown and the known organisms are determined, and it provides an estimate of the genetic diversity of the organisms which are present as a community. The sequence information also allows the organism's characteristics given what is known of its closest cultivated relative. Sometimes this phylogenetic information can also be used to infer physiology. For example, all cyanobacteria, they form a single monophyletic group, as do many sulfur reducing bacteria, halophiles and methanogenic archaeobacteria. Now, as we had talked about the kind of soil microorganisms, now let's start the study of these microorganisms one by one. First, soil microorganisms, actinomycetes. Actinomycetes are numerous and widely distributed in the soil, and they are next to bacteria in their abundance. The common genera of actinomycetes are streptomycetes, which corresponds to roughly 70% of the total actinomycete population present in the soil, Nocardia, Micromonospora and Streptosporangium are also generally encountered in the soil. These actinomycetes are widely distributed in the soil as well as in the compost, and the population of these actinomycetes, it increases with the depth in the soil. They are found on every natural substrate, but they prefer non-acidic soils which are having the pH range higher than 5. They are heterotrophic, aerobic and mesophilic, means they love to grow at the temperature of 25 to 30 degrees Celsius. And some species which are commonly present in the compost and manure, they are thermophilic. It means they can be able to grow at 55 to 65 degrees C temperature. While most of the bacteria, they are found in the top foot or the topsoil, the actinomycetes work many feet below the surface. Deep under the roots, they convert the dead plant matter to the organic substances. While they are decomposing animal and vegetable matter, they also liberate carbon, nitrogen, ammonia, and thus making the nutrients available for higher plants. 5% or more of the soil microbial population is comprised of actinomycetes, and they are having the ability to produce antibiotics also. Antibiotics are the chemical substances that inhibit the bacterial growth, and these are the organisms with characteristics common to both the bacteria and the fungi, but yet they possess the distinctive features. These actinomycetes, they are unicellular like the bacteria, but produce a mycelium which is non-septate. This condition is also called cenocytic, and the mycelium is more cylinder. Like the true bacteria, they do not have distinct cell wall, and their cell wall is without chitin and cellulose. And this chitin and cellulose, they are commonly found in the cell wall of fungi. On the culture media, these slimy distinct colonies of true bacteria which grow very quickly, but The actinomycetes colonies, they grow slowly and they show the powdery consistency and they stick firmly to the agar surface. They produce the hyphae and conidia like the fungi. Certain actinomycetes also have the segmented hyphae which resemble bacteria both morphologically and physiologically. So we can say that these actinomycetes, they are having some of the characters like bacteria and some of the characters resemble the fungi, but still it's a distinct category. The characteristic earthy smell of the newly plowed soil in the spring season is caused by these actinomycetes, a higher form of bacteria which is similar to fungi and molds. And these actinomycetes, they are especially important in the formation of the humus by slowly breaking down the humic acid which is present in the soil. Now let's discuss the functions of actinomycetes. As I have already discussed that these actinomycetes, they decompose all sorts of organic substances like cellulose, polysaccharide, proteins, fats and organic acids. So they are very good decomposers. The organic residues and the substances which are added to the soil are first attacked by bacteria and fungi, and later on the actinomycetes, they attack on this semi-hydrolyzed organic residues because they are slow in activity as well as their growth is also slow as compared to bacteria and fungi. These actinomycetes, they decompose the more resistant and the indecomposable organic substance and produce a number of dark black to brown pigments which contribute to the dark color of soil humus. They are also responsible for the subsequent further decomposition of the humus in the soil. These actinomycetes are also responsible for the earthy smell of the freshly plowed soils. Many genera of the actinomycetes, they synthesize a number of antibiotics like streptomycin, terramycin, aureomycin. All these antibiotics, they are secreted by the actinomycete Streptomyces species. One of the actinomycete species is also causing the disease, namely Streptomyces scabies, which is causing the disease potato scab in the potato crop. Now after actinomycetes, let's start with soil bacteria. Bacteria are the smallest single-celled microorganisms which are having the shape either a coccus, a rod or a spiral twist, and they are most abundantly found in the soil. 1 gram of the soil in good condition can contain 600 million bacteria belonging to an estimated 60,000 different species, most of which have yet to be even named, and each is having its own role and capabilities. Most bacteria are colorless and produce colonies, others are free living. All of them, they reproduce by means of binary fission, in which the nucleus splits into two and the new cell wall grows crosswise over the middle of the cell. So each half of the cell contains one of the two nuclei, and the new individual produced from the single bacterial cell is having the same nuclear composition. Under the best conditions, a colony of bacteria can multiply into billions in a very short time span, and the time span for one generation of bacteria is about 20 to 30 minutes. So it means the cells may yield progeny or billions of individuals in just half of a day. The microorganisms exist throughout the soil, but they predominate in the top surface soil. In the top surface soil, the food sources are plentiful and they are also present around the macropores, as they are dependent on the root exudates and the slugged off cells of the root, which is a readily available food source for these bacteria. That's why they are abundant in the area immediately next to the plant roots. The unique soil microbial ecosystem associated with immediate vicinity of the plant roots is called the rhizosphere. The rhizosphere is the narrow region of the soil that is directly influenced by the root and the associated soil organism, which are primarily the decomposers of the organic matter. Among the different microorganisms inhabiting in the soil, bacteria are most abundant and predominant microorganism. They are primitive, prokaryotic, microscopic and unicellular microorganisms without chlorophyll. Bacteria, being the prokaryote, does not possess well-defined nucleus, and the single chromosome which is present in a bacterial cell consists of a double helix DNA lying naked in the cytoplasm. This double helical DNA is attached to the membrane foldings which is called mesosome. The only cell organelle which is present in the bacterial cell is the ribosomes, which are of 70S type. This bacterial cell is enveloped by the cell wall, which is a tough rigid structure made up of peptidoglycan, lipopolysaccharides and teichoic acid. Some bacteria do have a jelly-like outer covering that surrounds the cell wall, and this jelly-like covering is called capsule. This capsule is either consisted of polysaccharides and occasionally of polypeptide and hyaluronic acid. Sometimes these short filaments are extruding from the cytoplasmic membrane and they are called fimbriae or pili. Based upon the morphological features of bacteria, they are classified as gram-positive or gram-negative based upon the staining method given by Danish physician Hans Christian Gram. Gram has given staining method in which, based upon the lipopolysaccharide content of the different present in the cell wall of the different bacteria, either the bacteria they will have the violet color or they will have the pink color in this gram staining process. The gram-positive bacteria they will have the purple color, the violet color, and the gram-negative bacteria they will have the pink color. The most common method for isolation of soil bacteria is the dilution plate count method, which allows only viable cells to grow. On the basis of ecological characteristics, the soil microorganisms are classified into two broad categories, autochthonous as well as zymogenous. Autochthonous bacterial population is uniform and constant in the soil because their nutrients they are derived from the native soil organic matter. Example, Arthrobacter and Nocardia. Whereas the second category, zymogenous bacterial population in the soil is low, as they require an external source of energy, and the presence of this zymogenous bacteria increases gradually when a specific substrate is added to the soil. Example, cellulose decomposers, nitrogen utilizing bacteria and ammonifiers. They belong to this zymogenous category. Zymogenous bacteria, they are not the native population of the soil. As per the system proposed in the Burgess Manual of Systematic Bacteriology, most of the bacteria which are predominantly encountered in the soil, they are taxonomically included in the genera Pseudomonas, Arthrobacter, Clostridium, Achromobacter and Enterobacter. Another group of bacteria which is common in the soil belongs to the genera Micrococcus, Chondrococcus, Racangium, Polyangium and Cryptophaga. On the basis of physiological activity, the bacteria they are classified into two categories, autotrophic bacteria and heterotrophic bacteria. Autotrophic bacteria, they are capable of synthesizing their food from simple inorganic nutrients, while heterotrophic bacteria, they depend upon pre-formed food for nutrition. All autotrophic bacteria utilize carbon dioxide present in the atmosphere as the carbon source and derive the energy either from sunlight or from the oxidation of simple inorganic substances present in the soil. The former category belongs to phototrophs and the later category belongs to chemotrophs. The common example of phototrophs are Chromatrum, Chlorobium and Rhedopseudomonas. And the example of chemotrophs is Nitrobacter, Nitrosomonas and Thiobacillus. Moving ahead to heterotrophic bacteria. Majority of the soil bacteria are heterotrophic in nature as they derive their carbon and energy from complex organic substances present in the soil. They decompose the organic matter. Certain bacteria also require specific amino acids, vitamins and other growth promoting substances for their growth. Another class of bacteria belongs to decomposers. These bacteria are smaller, less mobile, less complex than most of the organisms. Therefore, they are less able to escape an environment that becomes unfavorable. Bacteria, being most nutritionally diverse among all the categories of organisms, which is to say, as a group, they can eat nearly anything. Most compost bacteria are heterotrophic, that is, they can use either living or dead organic material. Some are so adaptable that they can use more than 100 different organic compounds as their source of carbon because of their ability to produce a variety of enzymes. Usually, they can produce the appropriate enzyme to digest whatever the material they find for themselves. In addition, the respiratory enzymes in the cell membrane make aerobic respiration possible as an energy source for the compost bacteria. Another very distinctive class of bacteria are nitrogen fixing bacteria. We all know that nitrogen is required for cellular synthesis of enzymes, proteins, chlorophyll, DNA, RNA, and therefore it is very important in plant growth and production. The ability of crop plant to thrive is frequently limited by the supply of available nitrogen. Although there is a lot in the atmosphere, but the plants are unable to utilize it. Instead, they rely on the inorganic supply which is available to them in the form of fertilizers. But certain species of bacteria, they are having the capacity to fix the atmospheric nitrogen into the usable form ammonia as well as the nitrites and nitrates which are readily utilized by the plants. This phenomenon of nitrogen fixation can add more than 100 kg of nitrogen per hectare per year. Some of the bacteria which belong to this nitrogen fixers, they exist either free living in the soil or they are associated with the roots of the non-legume plants. The free living bacteria present in the soil that can fix the nitrogen are aerobic species which belong to Azotobacter, Azospirillum, Gluconobacter, Flavobacterium and Herbaspirillum. These aerobic organisms, they shield the anaerobic nitrogenase enzyme which is responsible for fixation of dinitrogen into ammonical nitrogen from the oxygen, as they are having a very high rate of oxygen use. So, in this way they minimize the diffusion of oxygen into the interior of the cell where the enzyme is located. The free living obligate aerobe that fixes nitrogen is Bezirenchia, and the anaerobic bacteria, they are also fixing the atmospheric nitrogen and they belong to the genus Clostridium. Another group of bacteria which are capable of fixing nitrogen in the soil like Rhizobium, Mesorhizobium, Bradyrhizobium, Azorhizobium, Alorhizobium and Cynorhizobium. They live in the root nodules of the leguminous plants like clover, pea, peanut, beans, alfalfa, and they are living as the symbionts. These free living rhizobium which is present in the plant root, after the infection of the root, it infects the root cells. Normally, it forms rod shaped cells which proliferate and it will lead to the formation of the root nodules in the leguminous plants. You can see a nodulated root of the legume plant and the bacteroid structure of the root nodules in the slide. There are so many examples of symbiotic nitrogen fixation in the non-leguminous plants also, such as trees. The alder tree is symbiotically infected with the actinomycete frankia and forms the nitrogen fixing root nodules. Nitrogen fixing bacteria belong to different phyla of the domain Eubacteria, and they are present in the roots of the plants in more or less specific manner. In the roots, they are leading to the formation of the root nodules, and they have higher activity in relation to the host. However, some bacteria may inhabit the root surface or the plant rhizosphere, forming associations with low degree of specificity with the host. Plants associated with these bacteria benefit themselves due to increased nitrogen supply, and in the case of symbiotic association, over 90% of the nitrogen contained in the plant can be fixed by bacteria. Thus, the presence of nitrogen fixing bacteria in the rhizosphere of the plant can improve the plant growth in nitrogen poor environments, as well as promote increased nitrogen content of the soil. Another class of bacteria, it belongs to phosphate solubilizing microorganisms. Another category of the microorganism present in the soil belongs to phosphate solubilizing microorganisms. These microorganisms are naturally present in the soil, and they are also associated with the plant roots, or they are present in the rhizosphere area. These phosphate solubilizing microorganisms are very important in the tropical soils, as they are able to indirectly provide the phosphorus to the plants by solubilizing the total phosphorus present in the soil associated with iron, aluminium and calcium. These microorganisms solubilize the phosphorus absorbed by soil minerals by means of various mechanisms, and these mechanisms, they are shown on the slide. These mechanisms which have been proposed to explain the phosphorus solubilization are the release of organic or inorganic acids, excretion of protons which accompanies the ammonia assimilation. So, the release of these organic and inorganic acids into the soil will decrease the pH of the soil in the localized area and will make the precipitated phosphorus to get dissociated, and then it becomes available to the plant. Many organic acids produced by the rhizospheric microorganisms, they are very effective in solubilizing the soil phosphates by decreasing the adsorption of phosphorus on the clay surface, and so they are solubilizing the hydroxyapatite, that is the rock phosphate, and the plant phosphorus uptake increases. Some of the organic acids which are commonly found in the plant rhizospheric area are gluconic acid, oxalic acid, citric acid, lactic acid, tartaric acid and aspartic acid. And these acids, they are produced due to oxidative respiration or because of the decomposition of organic carbon sources in the microbial metabolism. In addition to the above discussed mechanism, the release of phosphatase enzyme by the phosphorus solubilizing microorganism also mineralize the organic phosphorus compound and is the mechanism involved in the solubilization of phosphorus. So many studies have shown that inoculation of this group of microorganisms in the soil increases the available phosphorus content of the soil. Because of this property only, these phosphorus solubilizing bacteria, they are used in the agriculture as biofertilizers. Microorganisms also play a role of plant growth promoting rhizobacteria in the soil. This plant growth promoting rhizobacteria is a large group of bacteria which are commonly called PGPR, and they play an important role in promoting the plant growth by different mechanisms. These PGPR microorganisms participate in the key ecosystem processes, act specifically on certain plant species, and play a central role in the decomposition as well as in the composition of plant communities in the different environments. Moreover, some PGPR are able to produce phytohormones which increase the population of other beneficial microorganisms and control the population of harmful ones in the rhizosphere area of the soil. Thus, plants able to recruit greater population of these microorganisms into their rhizosphere, and this population is contributing for the better suitability of the plant. Another community of the microorganisms, specifically bacteria, present in the soil, they act as the disease suppressors. A number of bacteria have been commercialized worldwide for their disease suppression activity. This suppression is often very specific to particular diseases of particular crops and is effective in control of that disease. For example, Bacillus megaterium, Pseudomonas fluorescens, and such bacteria, they are commonly used in some crops to suppress the disease causing fungus Rhizoctonia, and similarly the bacteria Bacillus subtilis has also been reported to suppress the seedling blight of sunflower caused by Alternaria. Another class of bacteria present in the soil belongs to sulfur oxidizers. These sulfur oxidizers, they are oxidizing the sulfide form of sulfur into sulfate, which is the available form to the plant. In the magmatic crust of our planet, sulfur is present in the reduced form as sulfide of metals. Many soil minerals, they also contain the sulfides, and this form of sulfur is largely unavailable to the plants. The biological oxidation of hydrogen sulfide to sulfates by the microorganisms is a major reaction of the global sulfur cycle, and this action is performed by sulfur oxidizing bacteria which are present in the soil. These sulfur oxidizing bacteria belong to gram-negative bacterial community and consist of the species Thiobacillus and Thiosephira. They are heterotrophs, but some of the bacteria belonging to Paracoccus, Xanthobacter, alkali genes, and Pseudomonas also exhibit chemolithotrophic activity to oxidize the inorganic sulfur. To sum up this module, I can say that today in this module we have learned about the different kind of microorganisms which are present in the soil. In the soil, they are playing a very diverse role. They are the disease suppressors, they are the nitrogen fixers, they are the phosphorus solubilizers, they are the plant growth promoters, they are present in the rhizosphere of the plant, and by their various metabolic activities, they are promoting the growth and the vigor of the plant. Thank you.